Good morning, amazing Moxxi and Arbonne ladies. How are you? Tuesday morning after a long weekend. I hope you're all feeling very refreshed and that you did something exciting for your long weekend, which invigorates you to go out and do some more amazing things this week. So last week we looked at your belief systems and how they impact on your mindset and ultimately your outcomes. And now this week what I really want to look at is your fears. So where do fears come from, why do you have them, and how to get over them? I'm sure that everyone experiences very similar fears, but starting your own business, and especially something like Arbonne, where you have to go out and talk to a lot of people that you don't know, you're bound to come up against a few fears. Once you learn to understand what they are and actually overcome them through action, you will be so much more successful and so much happier to go out and do your daily work. So let's get stuck into it. As always, if you have any questions, up here in the top left corner you've got a Q&A button. Just press on that and you'll be able to type in your question. I'll be coming back throughout the presentation to make sure that you're all online, you're all enjoying it, and if you have any questions or comments, I'll address them when we get back. I hope that you enjoy this. This is going to be a good session. Let's head over to our slide pack. Just like we start every week, I would like to confirm that you are more incredible than you could possibly imagine. This is the 4th time I have told you this over the last 4 weeks, so I hope that it is rubbing into your more incredible than you can possibly imagine brain. So today we're going to look at what is fear and why we have it. What is herd shifting, which is a idea that I'm going to introduce, and then working within or with your fear. So this will give you some strategies and some techniques to get over your fear and actually start implementing some different ways of working that embrace the fear. So first of all, the Oxford Dictionary says that fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Fair enough. I like to think of fear as false evidence appearing real. You can see it's an acrostic poem, which is fairly nifty, and it's pretty much exactly what it says there, false evidence appearing real. When you think of a couple of your fears, think of something that you're afraid of, like the fear of failure. What is failure? What evidence do you have that you're actually failing? If you look into it, it's probably false evidence. You're not feeling that great, you're not getting the numbers you want, but in reality you actually are doing a really good job. Fear of success is a huge one for a lot of people. So when you succeed, your life is going to change. You're probably not going to be able to whinge about not succeeding anymore. You're probably going to have to find some different hobbies or do some different things with some different people. This is a challenge for so many people. A fear of success is probably more powerful than fear of failure. And both of them, in my opinion, are a fear of the unknown. They're not necessarily either of the labels we put on them. It's just a fear of change. We're a creature of habit. We like our little safe space, and I understand that. But if you're going to build a rocking business and an amazing life, you have to step out of your comfort zone and start working in that place of fear and uncomfortableness. But the more you do that, the more that becomes comfortable. Just like I was saying, you get used to a certain standard of life because that's what your cells and your body's actually used to. Moving to a new standard of life then becomes your normal, which is wonderful. So I want you to repeat this to yourself every time you're starting to feel nervous or uncomfortable or in the state of fear. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. I hope when you say this it gives you a little bit of excitement. I know that it definitely pushes me through a lot of the challenges I have every single day. And it makes me really consider what I'm afraid of and why I'm afraid of it. And most of the time, we'll go through that strategy later, but most of the time, it's not even a legitimate fear. It's just me kind of getting in my own way. So I wanted to talk about why we have fear, because it's a legitimate thing. Like, there's fear of heights, fear of death, fear of so many things, and it's because it keeps us safe. Now, I chose this because this scene from The Lion King is one of the most terrifying things that I ever experienced as a child. And as I was looking through pictures to represent fear, for me this resonated really highly. And it also has a good point. So there is a pack of, I think it's wildebeest underneath Mufasa. And it pretty much is the reason why we have fear, is because we run in herds or packs. Think about it. We're mammals just like anyone else. We're just like whales. We're just like giraffes. I know, less of a neck, but the same principle applies. We are designed to move in packs. We're designed to move in groups. And this is why when people tell me that they're lonely, which is such a common thing, especially in modern society, because we're all on the internet and not connecting via face-to-face so much anymore, I say that's a completely normal thing, because we're designed to move in a group. The thing with moving in a group is you normally move in a group that is similar to you. So there is a saying in business and life that you are the top 5 people you hang out with divided by 5. So if you look at the health, the relationship status, the income, the happiness level of the 5 people you hang out with most around you, that's going to be you, divided by 5. Now people say, of course it is, Lauren, that's so silly. If you're working in an office, you're surrounded by the same people that are on the same income and they hire the same people. And I completely agree with that. But also look at your social circle. The thing with running in that pack is people don't like you to change. So if you start to think differently, you start to branch out, you start to be more confident, you start to run your own business, you start to make more money, all of these things, the pack is going to try and drag you back in. They're going to, like, if you look at a herd of horses, there is a dominant horse, and if one of the other horses starts to play up and do something a bit different, the horse will actually bite it. The dominant horse will bite the one that's playing up to nip it back into line. And your herd is doing this to you. Every time you try and do something different, they will nip you to make sure you fall back in line. Similarly, if you're performing poorly and you're doing the wrong thing by the group, you're challenging their values or something that they hold dear, they're going to nip you as well and bring you back into line. So it's not all bad. Sometimes it's a really great thing if you start to stray and do some dodgy shit for your happiness, people are going to pull you back. So as mammals, we like to be in a herd, which is why we have fear. If we separate from the group, we're alone. And alone, you know, what happens to a pack animal alone in the wilderness? It gets eaten. So it's for our safety that we actually are in a group. And then also we have an ego. Now, ego is a dirty word, and I don't agree with ego being a dirty word. I think we all have an ego. We all want to look good and be right, and that's important. It keeps us in check. So a fear of looking stupid will actually be fed by the ego. So if you think about your ego wanting to look good and be right, and then think about your daily activities and what you do, you can actually see that your ego is keeping you safe. So cold calling, you can get hung up on, you can get abused, you can get people telling you you're annoying, and that hurts your ego because you don't look good and you don't feel right. So your ego is trying to keep you safe so that you're constantly in a state of looking good and feeling right. Once you understand this and acknowledge your ego and say thank you for talking, you can actually go ahead and do things that you want to do outside of looking good and being right. And the last comment I want to make is around we have witnessed. So you've witnessed your whole life different things, your parents, your friends, your family, your aunts, your uncles, your society, your school. It has embedded ideas in your mind. Like, why are we scared of spiders? It's societally expected that we are scared of spiders. But how many have actually been bitten by a spider that hurt? How many of us have actually died from a spider bite? Well, you're all on this call, so none of you here. Why are we scared of spiders? It's keeping us safe in some way, because some spiders are really dangerous, but huntsmen's aren't. Daddy longlegs aren't. And I've seen some people squeal pretty loud over those. And mice. Why are we scared of mice? You know, it's because it's a little bit ingrained in us that this is the normal thing to be scared of. So we have witnessed people our whole lives telling us what we should be scared of, when in reality, none of us popped out of the womb scared of things. So consider in your life what you're afraid of, and consider why you're afraid of it. I don't like needles. I'm quite terrified of them, but I faint every time they're given to me. I don't know what's wrong with me. So that's a legitimate fear for me. I'm sure I could work through it, but hey, I only get needles every now and again. It's not a big deal. Fear of failure, fear of success, all those really deep ones. Fear of being found out to be a fraud, which is another huge one, especially for women. Where does that come from? Is it because your mum told you to only talk when you knew what you were talking about? Is it because you heard people saying how stupid other people were because they didn't know what they were talking about, and how frustrated they were with that? You know, think about where it's come from, and then you can start to address that. So 2 ways that I want to talk to you about today about how to address your fear, which are absolute kick-butt ideas, is first of all to upgrade your herd. Now, scary thought. You've probably had friends for a really long time, and your family's probably got something to do with your fear as well, which is a bit scary, thinking of upgrading your family. But seriously, your herd is designed to keep you safe. They'll pull you down to keep you in check. Tall poppy syndrome is a huge thing in Australia. Think about when you started your Arbonne business, how many friends supported you and how many friends didn't. This is a really big question for you. Who do you want to hang out with for the rest of your business and personal life? Now, you don't have to cut people off completely and never see them again, for sure. Keep friends that you've had for a really long time. But is there a possibility that you might need to start hanging out with some new people? So I created Moxxi so that I could hang out with driven, passionate, amazing women. I get inspired by the women I work with on a daily basis. And that was, you know, oh man, I can't tell you how refreshing that is. To come from a corporate world where people were so disengaged with their life, and then to come into the Moxxi realm where the women are just exceptional. So I've upgraded my herd by starting my business. I've also dumped a lot of really long-term friends who weren't serving what I wanted to do in life, and I know that sounds selfish, but I've found myself a new herd that nips me when I fall down, that pull me up to keep me safe in the herd so I'm not languishing behind, which makes me easy prey for anything that wants to eat me, essentially. And in our society, it's not lions or tigers or hyenas, it's people telling you you're doing the wrong thing. It's people that are able to get into your head and make you doubt your dreams. That is what you become prey to. And you let go of your dreams, because then you fall back into the other herd, into the negative herd, into a herd that pulls you down instead of pulling you up. Which would you prefer to be part of? And seriously, you have to answer this question. Everyone says, of course I want to be part of the good herd that pulls me up. But that's not an easy decision. In life, you're faced with decisions every single day. And some of them are a lot harder than others. And this one is a very, very hard one to decide upon, because the actions you need to take to get the result from upgrading your herd is actually to cut away some friends, to move away from your family's or your desire for your family to be proud of what you're doing. Now, that's a huge one. I know it was a big one for me as a very tight Dutch community. I had to move out of the state and I had to do something different, and it shocked all of them. And it's taken them 7 years to come around to the idea. And some of them still tell me I should just get married and have kids and be happy like that. And that's wonderful. I would love to get married and have children, but I'm never going to stop working. I love what I do. So I've had to find a herd that support that and then give less weight to what my family want. And I know some of you on the call today have a real pressure from your family. I'm not saying don't talk to them, but I am saying maybe give what they say less credit. So if you can think of anyone in your life that you need to upgrade, or your herd in general, I'd love to hear comments in the comment section. You can pop some questions in there as well if you'd like. A second strategy that I want to talk to you about around addressing your fear and overcoming your fears is this set of questions. So we've talked before about mindfulness and understanding that you're going to feel emotions and you're going to feel stressed and happy and all of the other things in life, but to be consciously aware that you're doing that. If you're consciously aware that you're highly excited or highly upset, you can make better decisions. Similarly, I want you to be consciously aware of when you are feeling fear. And then sit with that. Say, thank you, fear, for coming into my life. Now I'm going to ask you some questions. And legitimately, you have a conversation with it. You complete crazy lady. Maybe do it in your head rather than out loud. But if you're alone, go nuts out loud. Out loud might be a bit weird in a cafe, though. So sit and think. Honestly, what's the worst that could happen? So let's dissect the fear of failure. What's the worst that could happen? I lose my money. Okay. What's the likelihood that this could happen? Well, it just depends on how much work I do, I suppose. Like it is likely business can be risky, but I've seen many people succeed, so I don't know why it's not possible that I succeed. Would it really be that bad if I lost all my money? Subsequently, that's what failure means to me. No, I just go get another job. I mean, it put me back a bit. I lost my savings, but it's not all bad. I just go get another job. What could you do to mitigate failure from happening? Well, I could work harder. I could find more mentors. I could implement better systems. I could take it slow and steady. I could do a million things. Okay. Is there anything else? Failure to me also is embarrassment. It's not just about the money in the end. It's about being embarrassed that I gave something a go and it didn't work. And I want it to work so badly. Okay. What's the worst that could happen? I feel embarrassed. What's the likelihood that this could happen? Fairly high, but the same answer again. If I work hard and get good mentors, it probably isn't going to happen. Would it be really that bad? Look, I get over it. Embarrassment doesn't kill anyone. Okay. So what are you going to do about it? Can you see that sitting there and legitimately asking your fear why it's a big deal for you, you can break it down and realize it's not that big a deal. When you realize it's not that big a deal, you can go ahead and do what you're fearful of without being scared of it, essentially. Please understand that fear is going to be in your life for the rest of your life. Just like we were talking about last week with your beliefs, you're going to have to keep upgrading them all of the time. Fear doesn't go away. It changes for sure. It's not the same fear all of the time, but it doesn't go away. So you have to take action in the face of fear, which is this slide. How do I get rid of fear? That's one of the biggest questions I get asked as a coach, and I love this question because my answer is always be courageous. The definition of courageous is not the absence of fear, but to act in spite of the fear. And this is a huge, huge development point for all of us. How can you succeed if you don't take action? How can you move if you're not courageous? Your fear does not define you. It's only something that's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you in the same space that you've been operating in because you've been successful there. Understand that. Thank fear for that. And then go ahead and change your normal. Congratulate yourself every time you do something that is in the face of fear. So Gemma and I, my business partner and I, we have this thing called the Success Dance. And I know some of you have signed on to the Moxxi Lady program that's starting in July, and I'm so excited to have you on because you've taken control of your life and you're upgrading your herd, and that's awesome. And then I'm going to make you do success dances. So the reason we do success dances is to change the physiological and neurological patterns in your body, which creates excitement about facing a fear or doing something you don't want to do or completing a task that's been there for a while. So if every time you face your fear, if you are feeling nervous or scared and you make a phone call or you get up on stage or you do whatever you need to do, celebrate. Link facing your fear to a positive experience. So success dancing releases endorphins and dopamine and all the beautiful sexy stuff that makes you feel happy. And it's the dorkiest moves you can possibly pull off in 1 minute. Now, I suggest that you implement this strategy of being courageous and then celebrating when you do, because it makes life a hell of a lot more fun. And hey, can't take yourself too seriously. We've only got 80 years. We might as well enjoy them. So you can't get rid of fear, but you can learn to act in spite of it and enjoy it, which is so important, because if it ain't fun, it ain't done. I want to leave you with this quote for today. How badly do you want it? I'm going to ask you this question every week, and I want you to ask yourself this every single day. How badly do you want it? Arbonne is a vehicle for your success. It's not the only vehicle. It might not even be the best vehicle, but it is a brilliant one. If you don't know if Arbonne is for you, that's fine. Do it anyway. And push yourself really hard to succeed. You might not love the product, you might not love the business, I hope you do, but the success and the life-changing that you can have in Arbonne is going to make a huge difference to you. So how badly do you want to make this vehicle succeed? Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. So everything that you do today, tomorrow, and for the rest of the week, I want you to take action the moment you feel fear. Learn to feel fear and have that as a catalyst for behavior. Positive behavior that gets positive outcomes and leads you to success dancing. Once you get this in your life, after you know who you're serving, after you've set up your amazing time management skills with your strategy and your 3 actions a day, after you've nailed your belief system and believe in your heart that you actually are wonderful at this and you can do whatever you want to if you put your mind to it, then you learn to face your fears on a daily basis. You will become so much more productive. You will get so many results. You will make so much more money, which is very important when running a business. And it will just become more fun. And that's what we really want. And then it's not just about your business, it's about your life as well. So if you want to talk to a beautiful person, or you want to ask someone over for dinner, or you want to start a new sport, make some new friends, upgrade your herd, not just in business, but in life. You know, this is all going to be facing fears. So get excited for the roller coaster you're about to go on and pop it in the Facebook group so we can really get behind you on this. I'm going to come back to me now. How exciting. And see if there are any questions from you guys on the call. I'd love to hear about what your biggest fear is. What's the one that's really holding you back? And then I'd love to discuss how we can probably break that down for you. If you're not wanting to put it in here now, please pop it in the Facebook group. That's what this Facebook group's all about. It's not just somewhere where I can keep tabs on you. It's actually the opportunity for us to support you to break through these barriers that are holding you back and not getting you the results you want. You started this business for a reason, so let's throw that one out the door and make it bigger. Let's make it better. Let's get you more results. Let's get you everything that you could possibly dream of, plus more. Thank you very much for your time today. I really, truly appreciate it. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and whatever you do, be courageous.